The Game Awards are around the corner, and while there are a multitude of guesses and predictions out there, Devon and I, my name is Ethan, hello, and that's Devon over there, have the actual answers. We know what is going to be at the Game
We're from the
Awards.
future.
We are from the future. However, we'd like to little play a joke on you, and we're both going to say answers for each of these. One of them is true, and if we both say the same thing, then you know it's true because I'm pretty sure that's got. We're probably going to predict
I
the
mean,
same
to
thing at
cover
least
our
once.
tracks, we should just say separately
Oh,
different
only
ones.
pick.
Just the
Oh shit!
odds
We
of
need to
us
have
being correct.
backups. Yeah. Well, a lot of these are like 5 options. That's a pretty good odd. 2 out of 5. We're gonna go bit by bit through every single nomination for the Game Awards, and we're gonna tell you who we think is going to win. So let's begin.
Okay, here we have best multiplayer game.
This winner, I think, is actually pretty obvious. I would be shocked if it didn't win. Is Helldivers 2. TikTok made this game famous, and the one thing everyone talked about was like, "Oh my god, you got to get your friends to play it with you." So best multiplayer game. I mean, Helldivers 2 was just the funnest multiplayer game I've played in a long time.
No, I agree with Helldivers 2. I will say I think it lost its hype. I mean, it was really big early in the year. It came out in February, which might hurt it potentially in this category. But I'd be shocked if it didn't get any awards. But I think if it's going to get one, it'll probably be best multiplayer game because it just, you can squad up with random people and it was still very fun. You can squad up with your friends. It was still very fun. And that to me is like at the end of the day, you're on a team no matter, even within with randos, you're still on a team and it felt fun
Right.
to like kill some bugs or, whatnot. So yeah, Helldivers 2 I think has the best shot of winning this. All right, next one is best independent game.
Balatro is the best independent game of the year. It just is. It just is. Like I think that is. People are gonna look at that and be like, "What was the best independent game?" Oh, it was obviously Balatro, and they're gonna vote for that. I feel like.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. Like I said, I think maybe there's an outside chance, Animal Well gets it. But I think you're right. We're gonna get Balatro sweep here. And I think that will be, the big thing for Balatro. And then like I said, I don't know if it will win Game of the Year, but if it has a sweep here, that's still something to be proud of, right? If you're, if made that game. So I agree.
Best ongoing.
I think Helldivers 2. The only thing is, I think what's hurting it is like I said, I feel like some of the hype around the game, they still have big base playing it. But I feel like people I follow and whatnot haven't been talking about it like they were 6 months ago. So I can see that kind of hurting it. And then maybe they're like, hey, we'll give Helldivers 2 other awards. Helldivers just came out. Can it be really an ongoing game if it just came out? You know what I mean? Like the logic there. But I think a safe pick is Helldivers 2, but I can also see it being just Final Fantasy or.
I'm gonna give it to Helldivers 2 because while I agree with you, I think the thing that's hurting them is that they obviously were not prepared for the large amount of players. The thing that carries it for people is the meta narrative and how there is literally a single game master controlling the war and being like, okay, now these guys are going here. All right, do you want to, okay, here are your options. You have this planet or this planet. One of these is going to fall when the players claim the other one. How are we going to handle this? And seeing how they handle that on TikTok, that to me is all of a part of it. Like, TikTok really did make everyone feel like we are in this war together. That's not nothing. That is a part of this for sure.
All right, we're getting kind of in the home stretch here. We have best art direction.
I think ultimately, though, there is one studio that is on here that consistently is lauded for not their technicality, not their polygon counts or anything like that, but pure art direction trumping everything is From Software, and Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree is going to win.
I said earlier that Black Myth Wukong is this year's Alan Wake, where it was in a bunch of awards, and like I feel like not many people picked it to win those, and it kind of came out. I believe in the Black Myth Wukong narrative getting a lot of the awards. I don't think people are expecting them to. I think the hype is there. I still don't think it'll win Game of the Year, But like I said, it also would not shock me though if it does. Like if it, I can see it surprising some people, but I think we'll see it in the night. If it starts winning these awards, then you gotta start thinking maybe it'll win the whole thing. But hey, if Black Myth Wukong gets these other two, you still gotta consider like, oh, maybe. Yeah, I'm gonna go back Black Myth Wukong. I believe in the fans, in the hype.
Best narrative. So this is the story of the video game.
I think for me, what I would like to see from a best narrative is it's something new. So to me, I wish there wasn't remakes in here because at least, we're getting new ideas. I'm gonna go metaphor on this one.
Okay. I will say I think it is easily Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It is a very famous story. It is a very famous cast because this is narrative. I know this is literally a narrative, but we're also bringing in characters. The cast of Final Fantasy VII is more than beloved. It is video games' Star Wars cast. Like, these characters are untouchable in terms of like how held precious they are in like the video game industry. But I mean, come on, man! It's Cloud, it's Tifa, you got Barrett, and you get the journey that they're going on. I think that is just what will be the driving force on the vote. So I think Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is going to win.
All right, our second to last one. Some say just as important as Game of the Year. Just kidding, no one says that. But best game direction.
It's funny, but I think this is the one that is probably going to Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, because I think boss design carries a lot of weight in people's mind, and the world and bosses in Erdtree have had nothing but praise lauded onto them from people that have played it. And I think that is what people are be like, oh my god, do you remember when blah 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 happened and this boss fight, man? Like, I know they had to patch the final boss to make him extremely easy because he was way too hard. Like, that type of thing. But I'm curious, do you think it's going to be Erdtree, or do you think it's going to be something else?
I think, and this is only depending on, like, if this is different, I think, then the other one wins Game of the Year.
Okay, you think whatever wins this is not the Game of the Year winner?
Right, but I'm only picking two out of here, and it's Balatro and Astrobot. I think these are the two real. I think it's the real two-headed race in this. This is everyone else is a third party. All right, I'd pick Balatro to win this only because for me, I think Balatro is like a one-of-a-kind idea, and obviously it gets people to stop, like you said earlier, for when it came on mobile, like, I stopped going to work, I'm playing Balatro.
Right.
I think that means that, like, you get invested in the game, you don't even know how much time has passed, you're playing the game. If Balatro is getting these other ones and also gets game direction, I think we'll see Astrobot maybe getting it, because Astrobot, I think, will win the other awards too.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, why don't we talk about Game of the Year?
Vibes.
Because you've already basically said what you think is going to be the Game of the Year. So we have the same 6 games up for Game of the Year. Who do you think is going to win, Devon?
I think it's Astrobot. I typically the ones that win Game of the Year are unfortunately the bigger name studios who have the money to put into these games and make them. That's why Last of Us will always win. There hasn't been, like, to me, like, a big, like, oh my god, surprise for the Game of the Year in the last couple of years. Like, Baldur's Gate, I guess, was kind of surprising, but it also was like, yeah, I could see it. There was no one that was like an indie game. To me, like, Balatro, like, is a great success story, but will that carry them all the way to Game of the Year? I don't know. It really depends to me on who wins best game direction, like I said, because I think if Astrobot gets best game direction, I think people are like, I wanted to give you Game of the Year, Astrobot, but I gotta give it to Balatro, and other way around. I could just see that, like, it being really, really close, and that's why you'll have that flip potentially. Everyone's talked about Balatro and Astrobot. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
So
Okay.
At least from everything I've seen. So I'm just gonna lock it into Astrobot, but it would not surprise me if it's Balatro, and then maybe there's a chance too of Black Myth Wukong, depending on how the rest of the night goes.
Balatro is the game this year wouldn't shut up about. This was the biggest game of the year by far for everyone. Erdtree was huge. Black Myth Wukong, huge. Balatro, huge-er. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Metaphor, huge to a specific audience, Astrobot huge to a smaller audience, believe it or not.
That's fair. That's fair.
But putting all that aside, Balatro just simply is the best game of the year. It might be the best game of next year and the year after that, because guess what? They're going to be doing DLC themselves, and if Erdtree is eligible, then Balatro's expansion is also going to be up there as well. It is just a brilliantly designed game. Well, man, that was Game of the Year at the Game Awards. Now, we have one more question we need to ask ourselves, and that is, what games do we think are going to get announced at the Game Awards? Haha, too fast! You'll have to click a link somewhere that leads to a live stream that we're gonna stream our reactions to it live, and you're gonna watch. And then we have our whole thing we're gonna do there. We're not gonna spoil them today, because I don't think either of us have actually.
I'm not prepared.
Yeah, I didn't write them down. But we're gonna do our whole predictions thing in the stream that leads into the Game Awards itself. So please check that out. Please like and subscribe. It saves our lives. Devon has 8 kids.